أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Zamzam of Spiritual Knowledge. Excerpts from the teachings of Shaykh Mohamed Faouzi al-Karkari. Everything originates from the Shaykh. A disciple tells us that before starting his word, he tries to visualize the blessed image of Sidi Shaykh to lend sanctity to the practice. Sidi Shaykh says, "It is not necessary for the disciple to recall the image of his Shaykh before commencing his dhikr. Rather, he should instill in his heart the belief that everything he perceives originates from the heart of his Shaykh. Thus, the disciple directs his focus directly toward his origin, which is the Shaykh. One must continually remind oneself that the source of all luminous manifestations, or tajalliyat, is none other than the Shaykh. The disciple should understand that everything he experiences emanates from his blessed heart. He who views things in this manner will find his spiritual journey shortened. We teach the disciple to always return the trust to its rightful owners. Sayyiduna al-Alawi radiyallahu anhu, the Shaykh of our Shaykh, would advise his disciples, "If you pray alone, intend that I am your Imam, and your prayer will count as if it were in a congregational setting." This guidance stemmed from the fact that the disciples of the time had a genuine spiritual connection with their Shaykh. This does not mean that the disciple should distance himself from the community. Quite the contrary. It is obligatory for him to attend the mosque upon hearing the call to prayer, or adhan, to pray in congregation. Nevertheless, today's disciples have yet to attain the level of taslim, or submission, necessary to follow in the footsteps of Sidi Ahmad al-Alawi, radiyallahu anhu. Beware of asking Allah Jalla Jalaluhu for the station or maqām of a walī, or saint. A disciple sent a message to Sidi Shaykh informing him that one of his ancestors was a walī. This disciple had repeatedly prayed in the mausoleum of his grandfather, seeking the same station or maqām that his ancestor held during his life. Following these prayers, trials began to afflict him. After one such visit to his grandfather's mausoleum, his condition drastically changed. He started to feel the weight of mountains on his shoulders, and his soul seemed to burn. He suffered so intensely that he began crying like a child. Entering the tariqah alleviated this condition somewhat, but it still persists. What is the solution to this ordeal? Sidi Shaykh responds, "It is advised not to seek the stations of other awliya, which is the plural of walī, during one's spiritual journey, as the paths they traversed to reach these stations remain unknown to you. You do not comprehend the burdens they shoulder to achieve their maqām. Allah Jalla Jalaluhu prepared them for such challenges. They could endure these afflictions and trials without a word of complaint, keeping their struggles private. They were shaped to bear immense burdens. Allah Jalla Jalaluhu granted this disciple that he fervently desired. Now he is obliged to endure it, due to his relentless pursuit. Indeed, the disciple must comprehend that he is distant, weak, and not worthy of any maqām. He should persistently seek forgiveness and the favor of Allah Jalla Jalaluhu and pray for annihilation, or fana, in Allah gentleness, or lutf, and love. It is unwise to request a maqām. Some aspire to the maqām of Sidi Abu al-Hasan al-Shadili, radiyallahu anhu. It is important for these individuals to be aware that he faced expulsion from Morocco, Tunisia, Algeria, and Libya, endured significant hardships, and ultimately died from poisoning. And yet you aspire to the maqām? Are you prepared to bear the burden of these trials? Consistently implore Allah Jalla Jalaluhu to bestow upon us annihilation in His beauty, or jamal, and contentment. This way, the disciple will navigate with grace, or lutf. Those who desire majesty, or jalal, often fail to recognize their own insignificance and weakness. The Prophet, peace be upon him, said that when a believer is stung, he, peace be upon him, feels it twice as intensely. The Prophet, peace be upon him, shares the suffering of each believer, out of mercy for the commitment and to illustrate our relative insignificance compared to him, peace be upon him. Therefore, it is advised that the disciple who sent this question return to the mausoleum where he prayed and to earnestly beseech Allah Jalla Jalaluhu to relieve him of the maqām he had requested.